So, Ian passed through North Carolina, and it is, what would you call this, interesting? As you can see, it is a very interesting.
It's not the destruction that other places are seeing,
No.
which we're very thankful, but still a lot of debris that's down through the neighborhood.
Yeah, it is. We cannot complain like the good folks in Florida can.
No, in fact, I'm really surprised that I'm not seeing anything down here.
Well, the world lives down. I mean, there were branches down. I don't think any trees fell down, but
That's what I'm saying. Like, there are so many trees in this area, it's surprising that something didn't come down.
of course, because we're in the forest, the wings here were not as heavy, for example, as they were in your apartment either, right?
Right.
In fact, most of the day I didn't feel the winds, but clearly existed because you can see all the debris,
Right.
the debris. Here, there is a branch there, down.
One little branch. There was a quite large branch on the highway on the way home last night.
A lot of
Like a
power
tree,
outages.
actually.
No, a lot of power outages.
Yes, I lost power. A lot of people in the Raleigh-Durham area lost power.
I didn't, because forest. And there is a neighbor walking in a very interesting way.
It's called power walking.
It's called funny walking. Hey, Johnny Walker. Doo-doo. But it is what you would call this scene. It's definitely not. It's almost pretty though, right? It's not.
It's pretty and it just has kind of a fall sort of feel.
It's almost like nature reclaiming itself, reclaiming the infrastructure, right?
Yeah, because the road is mostly hidden
Yeah.
by all the pine needles and little branches. I just thought it was beautiful when I pulled into the neighborhood, so.
It is very, very beautiful.
You look like you're driving the camera.
I know.
It reminds me of the Knight Rider.
Well, this is actually.
The Knight Rider steering wheel.
I know, but that's how airplane yokes look like.
I know. Knight Rider.
Remember, I'm a
Give me-
pilot. Airplanes.
Give me my Knight Rider reference, though.
I'm going to give you something.
Knight Rider was my favorite when I was a kid.
All right, Kit. If you don't know, Kit was the car in Knight Rider.
Kit.
And if you don't know what Knight Rider is, I cannot help you.
Right.
What is that, police line, or what is that yellow?
It's a caution tape.
Oh, tie a yellow ribbon.
They clearly don't want you to go down their driveway.
Oh, the fire.
Oh,
That's why.
that's why. That's not good.
But yeah, this is just beautiful, isn't it? I
Yes,
don't
it
know.
is.
We're taking too much video. We apologize, but I kind of find it intriguing. And we are back in the main road now, so. Hello friends, and welcome to another episode of the Urban Homesteading channel with Professor DIY, Mrs. DIY, and Elpida. Good day, good afternoon, good evening, good night, depending on what time you're watching this. If this is the first time you're visiting with us, we want to extend to you a very, very warm welcome. If you have been here before, either as a subscriber or a return viewer, welcome back. We appreciate you returning to us. If today's your birthday, we want to wish you a very, very, very happy birthday. So today we're going to take the lowliest of building materials, plywood, and we are going to make art from it. And when I say we, I mean Mrs. DIY will make art from it. So stick around, this is a fun, whimsical project that most every person can do. So today we're going to take two pieces of plywood like this that we cut from another larger, what was it, 2x4 or 2x2 piece?
2x2.
A 2x2 piece of plywood. So we're going to transform these two into beautiful pieces of art. Like so. So stick around and we're going to show you every step on how we did this. Well, there are many ways to achieve the goal we're going for today. The easiest way is to take one of those grinding wheels and put it on your angle grinder, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember. Do you remember how much we bought? It was like around $5.
$5 or $6, yeah.
It was not a very expensive thing. And Mrs. DIY, tell us how that feels to be used.
It It is a pretty substantial tool. It's quite heavy and it has a lot of aggression to it, so you have to be prepared for it to move you and not let it do that.
Okay, and the wheel was difficult to use?
The wheel wasn't difficult to use, but you do need to put it kind of at an angle and move it gently so that you don't eat away too much material at one time that you don't want to.
What other advice do you have for anyone that wants to copy this product? Because you were the one that did it.
I decided to do a practice piece, which was very helpful to me so that I could get a feel for how it moves across the wood and to kind of decide on the effect that I was looking for.
This is a very scary tool, isn't it?
Well, it can be.
You know.
I would suggest also using a mask and having a ventilation system because it does kick up a lot of dust as it moves.
Correct.
Goggles as well.
So as always, we're going to show you everything that we're going to use, and as cost relates, if you have an angle grinder, you only need to buy one of those wheels. Ours was a Warrior brand from Harbor Freight. There are many brands. Again, we're not sponsored. This is just what we bought, right?
Mm-hmm.
We purchased it with our own money. But there are other ways to do it. You can use very aggressive sanding with a sandpaper. It would be very hard to do by hand. You will need a very substantial power grinding. But there are other ways you can do it. Even the little wheels we have, the little barrel-looking sandpapers, or even our file.
Right.
I mean, there are a lot of different ways you can do it. You can even carve it.
You could.
It will take much more time, much longer, right? But the whole idea behind it is that it looks random. Do not try to have a pattern to it, right?
Right.
Because with a pattern, it will not look right. So random will always look right. So again, we're going to show you everything that you need to know on how to do this little project. So today we're going to take pieces of plywood like this and turn them to pieces of art like this. Okay? Right here, for some reason, I could not push the piece forward. I know it was not binding because you can see there the distance after the blade is exactly the same, but I had to back up the piece and restart in order to make sure we were safe. And this is where we start transforming the plywood into a piece of art. Using the wheel, you need to try and make very random moves, and it is ideal if you go once over a piece of an area and then go back until you reach the desired depth. As you can see there, we saw the first time that we saw a real difference, and you do that because you want some randomness, and you do that until you're done. Right there, we're just securing the piece again. One of the important things when you do this is that you need to make sure that your piece is secure. So here we're using some dogs to make sure that our piece will not move, and periodically Elpida and I will be on safety patrol watching to make sure that the piece did not move, because his Mrs. DIY was very focused on how to make the pattern on the piece. Sometimes, as you can see, you make a pass and nothing changes, and then you have to go over it again or make it a little different, go a little deeper. This is an experimentation process, but the key is that you want to generate some randomness to the piece that's also three-dimensional, because you're taking material off. As long as you take material off consistently, you are in a good position. Again, it doesn't make a difference how you do it, if you do it in a line or if you do it diagonal. It really makes no difference. You do it until you reach a point in which you like the outcome, and that is the only important thing, is this whole process. If you had a really cheap plywood here, voids will totally spoil the effect that you are going for. So it is important you have a good amount of a good quality plywood without a lot of voids in it. And I'm going to show you later what that means. When you look at it, you can see if there are voids or not. So look at it at the store and make sure you buy something without a lot of voids. Do not try for perfection here. You're going to reach a point after which doing more will actually make the piece look worse. So reach a point that you like and stop. That is an important process when you're creating art in general, and also is an important process when you finish woodworking pieces. You can try too hard and you can do too much, and you're going to go past the point of perfection to less perfect. So again, do it randomly, and when you reach a point that you think, okay, that looks good, just stop. That can be hard to do for some people, but it is very critical if you want your piece to look the best you can possibly make it look. You can see here again, initial passes don't make a big difference, and Mrs. DIY is very patient, and she makes sure that she does not overdo it, but instead she's going through her passes. Look what the piece looks like. You can see her lifting the grinding wheel every now and then to inspect the piece, and this is the correct way to do it. Again, this is a matter of taste, and art is always a matter of taste, so try not to overdo it if possible, or of course you can start over again and use a new piece. Periodically check that you're correct again. There I was adjusting the dogs so the piece will not move, because that's the only time you're going to make possibly a mistake, but either will lead to an accident or it will be very, very hard to correct. This process most certainly requires a lot of patience, so take your time, and in the worst case scenario, if you make a mistake, start with a new piece. Just take it slow and it will look great. Clearly you can see here the piece taking shape. We're almost at the end of the process, and very slowly we are working to take care of any areas we might have missed. Mrs. DIY here is covered in dust. This is a very, very messy process. You're going to have dust everywhere, and even with our dust collection system on, we found out that there was dust everywhere. It took some serious cleaning afterwards to make sure that the soap was free of dust. Again, look around as you're doing the piece, and you see Mrs. DIY goes to different parts of the piece and make sure that you take care of any areas that might have been missed. Again, keep it random and it will look great. So once you're done, and clean the pieces, right? And then clean your wife. That is definitely a messy process.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Clean everything in it, right?
Just clean everything.
And for those of you that are wondering if those dust collection system makes a difference, we much rather have that there than in our lungs, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
This filter was clean when we put it on, when we started it.
Obviously, we're wearing masks as well.
Right.
But for all the debris that's going in the air, some of it's going on the floor, this is going to catch the stuff that's in the air.
And it did a good job actually directing it to itself, right? I mean, I didn't take a video of this, but
Right.
it was doing a very good job picking things there. So for the cost, this is an excellent addition to your soap, I
your
think.
$10 box fan and 50-cent filter there, right?
Yep. And since this is Mrs. DIY's project, we're going to have to sand, of course. We have put the two pieces next to each other, so Mrs. DIY is going to sand them both at the same time. What are you doing, Elpida?
Sweeping the leaves off the deck.
This is the gift that Ian left us behind, huh?
The Ian? Yes.
Ian, not Ian?
Nope.
Why not Ian?
I don't know, because that's not how you say it.
Don't throw away our door stop.
Our dot stop.
A stop door stop.
AKA the wedge.
Yes.
Okay. Door stop.
It works beautiful for that, doesn't it?
Indeed it does. It's heavy to hold the door open.
So Mrs. DIY, how are you going to finish this?
Poly. Spray
Poly.
poly. I guess.
Yes. The red thing is where it points at. And there is an immediate change as always, right? If you do not want to use poly here, oil will also do the same thing. All we're trying to do is to make sure that we can see the difference between the different parts of wood that we created with the grinding wheel more pronounced. And as you can see here, that's exactly what the poly does. If you want it to be very, very shiny, you will need to do many coats of poly. Other than that, 1 or 2 coats are enough. Is that good, or you're going to do more?
I'll do more when it dries a little bit.
So it is important what kind of plywood you will use. The higher grade plywood, the better the effect will be, right? And definitely do not buy what is called builder's grade plywood that has a lot of voids in it, because it will not have a good effect, right? You're going to hit a void and you're going to have an empty space instead of a continuum like this. So Mrs. DIY used this as a test piece to get a feel of the tool, because we have never used the tool before. None of us have. So, and right now she's the only one that has used it. And you can see this is a little different piece of ply, or older, but you can see it is totally random, right? What it will do, even between those two pieces that they're the same piece, it is totally random. So even if you make this project, don't expect your piece to be exactly like this, right? Does that make sense?
Right.
What did it cost us? A 2x2 piece of plywood is not very expensive. It will be in the $10, $14
Yeah, I think
price
we might have
range.
spent like $12 to $15.
Right.
Yeah.
And
But
even
if you get a higher grade,
right,
it'll be a little bit more, but still.
right. But this is a decent grade, and as you can see, this has no voids, right? That's what you're looking for. I don't think I have any plywood with voids to show you, but you can see that there are no voids between the plies, right?
Right.
And I guess now that I said that, you need a plywood with multiple plies, right? If it has only 1 or 2, it will not work very good for this project.
So like a 3/4 inch to a 1 inch thick. ply.
Right, but still with many plies, because they are that, like the builder grades only have 3 plies and a lot of voids in them.
Okay.
So you don't want the cheapest plywood you can buy to do this project, right? Well, friends, this is our end project, and those are going to be hung on a wall, right? And are you going to hang them both next to each other, or they're going to be different walls, or what?
Close together,
Like so?
maybe.
So how about sanding, Mrs. DIY? Do they need to be sanded, or?
They don't have to be. It just depends. Like I have some rough grooves here that, you know, if you're looking for something that is very contoured and soft, then you would want to sand that off. I think it kind of gives it a little bit more dimension with the grooves. It was kind of a mistake when I was doing it, but I kind of like it in the end.
And if you want it to look kind of shiny, you have to do a lot of poly, because this is just the wood. It has no paint or stain on it, so poly is absorbed. Like now, we did it a few minutes ago and it is dry to the touch, right? So multiple layers of poly will help you. Well, folks, this is our project for today, and we had fun. It is an unusual project for us that was kind of forced by Mother Nature, right? Ian caused a lot of rain yesterday and today. We could not do a big project outside as we were planning, but it is coming. Don't worry about that. We hope you will try this fun project. It is really fun, and that would be a fun gift, don't you think? For someone that likes modern art or something like that.
It depends on the person's taste and
Right.
how adventurous they are.
So we saw those for sale on places like Etsy for substantially more than we spent. Even with buying the wheel, we were in the under $20 range, right? And even if you buy the most expensive birch plywood you can find, you will be in under $30. So if you enjoyed this episode, please give us a thumb up. Well, that one. Give us a thumbs up. If you didn't hit the other button twice,
Bounce it twice.
share, like, subscribe. Let us know if that was a fun episode for you, and if you would like to see more episodes like that are more artistic and less buildy. From Professor DIY, Mrs. DIY, and Elpida, have a great winter, friends.